Hi, I'm Ben Ferguson, and welcome to Your AMAC Weekly News. Today's show is an impeachment special. Now, liberals have been obsessed with impeachment since the night Donald Trump was elected. So today we're going to answer several questions for you. How did we get here? What happens moving forward? And could all of this actually backfire on many of the liberals that are attacking Donald Trump? The most important question is, what can you do to support our president? But first, a quick reminder. Please share this video with your friends right now. And if you haven't joined AMAC or renewed your AMAC membership, do it now so you can continue to receive this new show and access to our amazing member benefits. You also get the awesome AMAC magazine. Most importantly, AMAC represents you and now more than 2 million other conservatives on Capitol Hill every day. So make sure you join or renew today. Your AMAC Weekly News starts right now. Liberals in Congress have now given 86 different reasons in the last 3.5 years as to why they demand that we impeach Donald Trump. Now they've decided to move forward on a new baseless impeachment claim that deals with a simple phone call Donald Trump had with the new president of Ukraine. Now, it's important to know that the real story should actually be about former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter. Back when Biden was vice president, he made sure to protect his son from any and all scrutiny in his new job that he took in the Ukraine. That's right, when Joe Biden was in charge of the entire American-Ukrainian policy. At the same exact time, his own son was sitting on a board of a big energy company, and they were making a lot of money. Not only that, this company was actually being investigated for corruption by the nation's top prosecutor. Now, because of Biden's role with American policy, he had massive power and even bragged about it openly after he left office. The most shocking part is that Joe Biden used $1 billion in loan guarantees to make sure the Ukrainian prosecutor investigating the company that his son was making millions of dollars off of was fired, or America would not release the funds that Ukraine desperately needed. Now, Biden literally bragged about pressuring Ukraine to fire their top prosecutor. Take a look at Biden's own words from a Council of Foreign Relations meeting in January of 2018.
So I got Ukraine, and I remember going over convincing our team, or others, to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, "No," I said, "I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion." They said, "You have no authority. You're not the president." The president said. I said, "Call him." I said, "I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion." I said, "You're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here." And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, "I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money." Well, son of a got fired. And they put in place someone who was solid at the time.
Now, the real question we should all be asking is, would it even be possible for Hunter Biden to ever have been able to grab such a lucrative job on a massive board of a massive company in the Ukraine without his father being in charge of Ukraine policy and the money that flows there? Now, Joe Biden has been playing major defense since these revelations have come to light. And he wanted to make it clear that he supposedly never talked to his son about any of his son's business dealings with the Ukraine. Take a listen to how he responded to a question that was asked of him by a Fox News reporter.
Mr. Vice President, how many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings.
And so how do you know?
Let's talk about, here's what I know. I know Trump deserves to be investigated. He is violating every basic norm of a president. You should be asking him the question, why is he on the phone with a foreign leader, trying to intimidate a foreign leader, if that's what happened? That appears what happened. You should be looking at Trump. Trump's doing this because he knows I'll beat him like a drum. And he's using the abuse of power and every element of the presidency to try to do something to smear me. Everybody looked at this, and everybody's looked at it and said there's nothing there. Ask the right question.
The truth is that there is much more to this than Biden would like any of us to believe. Just this week, a picture has surfaced showing Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and several other people that were on the board of the company playing golf together in August of 2014. My point? So much for Joe Biden saying that he had nothing to do with his son's dealings with the Ukraine. We literally have a picture of you playing with board members of the company that your son served on. Now, news reports indicate that the vice president was in the Hamptons at the time when the picture was actually taken. Not only has Biden acknowledged the fact that he actually pressured Ukraine to fire their top prosecutor, who was investigating his own son's company, but he has also lied about the fact that he didn't know anything about his son's work. Yet, the media is now demanding that Trump be impeached for simply making a phone call asking the new president of the Ukraine to take a closer look at this clear abuse of power. Now, President Trump has every right to try to find out more about Biden's relationship with the Ukraine. This is a guy that was giving billions of dollars of American loan guarantees to a country. It's the job of the president to look into things like this. Now, this is not an impeachable offense. What Biden did for his son should be the real story. Now, AMAC is committed to making sure that this story is not swept under the rug. So please make sure you share today's show with your friends on social media. Even though this impeachment inquiry was just announced by Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, this is nothing new. Going all the way back to right after the president was elected, before he was even sworn in, there have been at least 86 different reasons given from Democrats in Congress to, quote, impeach Donald Trump. What makes this all even more ridiculous is how Pelosi made the announcement about this new impeachment inquiry. She did so by announcing that she had not even seen the transcript that was going to be released by Donald Trump and his administration the very next day. All it was a phone call between the Ukrainian president and President Trump. And she didn't even wait for an explanation. She just said, we're going to impeach. Why? Because that's what Nancy Pelosi does. Well, President Trump decided everyone could see the words and that there was nothing wrong with this conversation. Take a look at what Pelosi had to say on Fox News about all of this.
I haven't seen it, so I've just come from our own meeting. But the transcript is, the fact is that the President of the United States, in breach of his constitutional responsibilities, has asked a foreign government to help in his political campaign at the expense of our national security, as well as undermining the integrity of our elections.
That's right. You just saw the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, literally just admit that she has not read the transcript. But it didn't matter because she was going to impeach Donald Trump anyway. She wasn't even willing to wait one day for the actual transcript to be released before she said, I'm opening an impeachment inquiry. Now, she's not the only one that's gone crazy in Washington. There have been multiple people calling for the removal of the president, and they started all the way back in 2017. According to Maxine Waters, back in February of 17, one of the reasons that we need to impeach Trump is because, quote, eventually we have to. Take a look at this from C-SPAN.
Eventually, we've got to do something about him. We cannot continue to have a president who's acting in this manner. It is dangerous to the United States of America.
Now, Donald Trump hadn't even been in office for 2 months, and already the left was calling and planning for his impeachment. Perfect example on May the 22nd of 2017. Ron Reagan says Trump should be impeached because he is, quote, mentally unstable. Move forward to November the 8th of 2017, and Al Green gave 4 different reasons to impeach Trump right now. He said he should be impeached for being an inciter of ethnocentrism, promoting xenophobia, inciting bigotry, and being an inciter of hatred. Now, other leftists have even said that Donald Trump should be impeached because he defends himself against the attacks made against him by the mainstream media or the liberal media. That's right. They take shots at him and the president defends himself. And now people are saying Donald Trump should be impeached for doing that, protecting himself. Representative John Yarmuth said this in an MSNBC interview. Take a look.
You recently signed on to support a bill to do so. First, what are the articles of impeachment here? What are these and how did you get to this point?
Well, the one that actually convinced me to sign on was involved the president threatening to take TV stations' licenses away because of content. To me, that was an impeachable offense.
Yeah, that perked up my ears, too.
Yeah, that's an impeachable offense, in my opinion, when you're going to use government to censor the media.
Now, the left isn't done. In March of 2018, Maxine Waters said that she believed Trump should be impeached for name-calling. Yes, they want to overthrow the President of the United States of America for name-calling. Ted Lieu said Trump should be impeached for possibly, quote, considering firing Mueller. That's another one. He didn't fire Mueller, by the way, but hey, let's impeach him anyway. Al Green said in May of 2019 that the president should be impeached to prevent his reelection, which is what this really is all about. Yes, he literally said he wanted to impeach the president to prevent Donald Trump from being reelected. Now, I will say, the one thing they've been honest about is, if you can't beat him, you must impeach him. Take a listen to this from an interview with MSNBC.
Congressman, are you concerned that impeachment talk may actually help the president's reelection?
I'm concerned that if we don't impeach this president, he will get reelected.
So let me get this straight. Representative Green's reasoning for impeaching the president is that he's, quote, afraid of the American people making their own decision of who should actually be the president. Now, the liberals in Congress are the ones abusing their power to try and take away your ability to choose who you want to be in the Oval Office. This is why we here at AMAC are determined to make sure that your voice is actually being protected. We are also committed to make sure that your vote is not a race because people don't like who actually won an election. We believe that the will of the people should always be honored and that no president who wins a free and fair election should be removed from office because a group of extremists do not like the outcome of a free and fair election. So if you want to know just how much the left hates Donald Trump, it's not just about trying to destroy him or his family. Now Maxine Waters says that she doesn't want to just impeach the president. She actually tweeted out that she believes the president deserves to be, quote, imprisoned and placed in solitary confinement for his phone call with the president of Ukraine, nonetheless. Now, when confronted about her insane comments in an interview on MSNBC, Maxine Waters said that she didn't really mean what she said. Take a look.
I want to read something you said today to get a fuller understanding. You said, with regard to Donald Trump, he's using mob language. He's implying people should be killed for whistleblowing. Impeachment's not good enough for Trump. He needs to be imprisoned and placed in solitary confinement. But for now, impeachment is the imperative.
That's right.
I ask you tonight, are you speaking literally? And do you have any concern you're prejudging the House impeachment and Senate trial process by declaring he should be, I guess, convicted and held in solitary?
No, not really. As you said, I said impeachment is the imperative. I did express myself in ways to show how terrible I think he is and how he really should be punished. But, of course, impeachment is what we're focused on right now.
So there you have it. A member of Congress tweeting out that she actually wants to forcibly remove a man from the White House and also wants to put him in prison and put him in solitary confinement. And when she is confronted with this insane idea, she goes out there and tries to make excuses. But she's not the only one that likes this idea. Look at all the liberals in Congress. The one thing they do know that they want is they want to make sure that Donald Trump and conservatives have no power. And that's the reason why they're trying to forcefully remove the president from office. Why are they doing this? Because they're so afraid that Donald Trump is going to get elected to another 4-year term. Now, the president did release a transcript that caused all of this fake outrage. And remember, liberals didn't even read it before they called for an impeachment inquiry to begin because they didn't really care what was in the transcript. They just needed a reason to overthrow the president. So now you have members of Congress saying that the president needs to be imprisoned and placed in solitary confinement immediately. Well, these words that you hear is what you would hear in socialist and communist countries. We should never hear them from Americans that are elected to Congress, yet here we are. Now, to be clear, this is bigger than President Trump. The left is trying to take power away from the American people. This is an attack on everyone who voted for Donald Trump. And with the 2020 elections coming, they want to take away your right to vote for the current president. This is why we need to back Donald Trump, and AMAC is doing just that. So please make sure you share this show with all of your friends on social media. Make sure you tell your neighbors and family about AMAC. Now, we are 2 million strong at AMAC, and together we can protect our freedoms. That's it for this edition of Your AMAC Weekly News. Now, be sure to join AMAC or renew your AMAC membership. Members also receive not only the show, but also the AMAC magazine. And most importantly, AMAC represents you and almost 2 million other conservatives on Capitol Hill every day. So make sure you join or renew today. I'm Ben Ferguson. I'll see you back next week for our next episode.